Unless you're Tottenham Hotspur, every team added to their squad in the summer with varying degrees of success. But while the likes of Alisson, Andre Gomes and Lucas Torreira are thriving at their new club, the same can't be said for every summer signing. Here is our worst signings of the season so far 11. In goal it's Jason Steele. This one was difficult as there were a lot of goalkeepers signed this summer, but not many of them are regular starters. Alisson and Martin Dubravka have been great, but the likes of Rob Green and Lee Grant were only brought in as number 3s. So for this team we've decided to go with Brighton's Jason Steele, as I still can't believe the lad's a Premier League goalkeeper. While Brighton have a solid first choice in Matty Ryan, signing Jason Steele asks serious questions about the recruitment at the Amex. I mean, did you see how bad he was with Sunderland last season? It might be harsh due to him not playing, but we've got to pick someone, sorry Jason. Our first defender is Ryan Fredericks. Before we go any further, we couldn't pick a left back, so Ryan Fredericks is having to play centre back in a 3-5-2 formation. He'll be fine, I'm sure. Fredericks was one of the many new faces at West Ham this summer, arriving on a free from Fulham, despite achieving promotion with the Cottagers. The defender looked capable of being a force in the Premier League with his pace, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Fredericks has struggled badly in the Claret, playing a part in some of West Ham's worst performances this season. Fortunately for them, Pablo Zabaleta is enduring something of a renaissance now. Next up is Yannick Vestergaard. When you're 6'6", there's nowhere you can hide, which isn't great when you've played as badly as Vestergaard has. The Danish defender cost the Saints £18 million, tasked with filling the massive void left by Virgil van Dijk. However, he's done anything but that and just made the pain of losing Van Dijk hurt even more. Southampton are struggling and so is Vestergaard. With the turning circle of a bus, the defender needs to improve massively to prove he can perform in the Premier League. Our third centre defender is Leander Dendoncker. To be fair, I wouldn't blame you if you forgot all about Wolves signing Leander Dendoncker. The Belgian joined Wolves on an initial loan deal with a view to a £12 million permanent move, but we've barely seen him since arriving. The win over Chelsea saw Dendoncker get his debut, playing the final 9 minutes of the 2-1 win. Apparently the youngster returned from the World Cup overweight, with Nuno having concerns over his fitness. Clearly a talented player, hopefully he can have an impact in the second half of the season, as the first few months have been an absolute disaster. On the right of midfield is Rachid Ghazal. How did Leicester try to replace Algerian international and talisman Riyad Mahrez? Well, by signing another Algerian international of course. But unlike Mahrez, Ghazal appears to be all fart and no poo. What a weird saying that is. Anyway, his footwork is dazzling, as are his tricks, but they mean nothing if you've got no end product. His skills might impress fans of the F2 who everyone seems to hate now, not sure why, but they won't fly for long in the Premier League. It's a good job James Maddison is performing, because otherwise the Fox's summer business would look very poor. In the middle we've got Frank Zambo Anguissa. Fulham spent a ton of money this summer, and everyone, myself included, thought they'd done brilliant business. From what I'd seen of Anguissa, I thought he was a decent player, but on closer inspection, how on earth did Marseille manage to get 30 million quid for him? He doesn't even look to be worth 3. Jean-Michel Seri has shown flashes of his worth, but midfield partner Anguissa looks an absolute disaster. Can Claudio Ranieri get the best out of him? That remains to be seen. Next in the middle is Jack Wilshere. I mean, this one isn't surprising, is it? Anyone that thought Jack Wilshere was finally going to achieve his potential at West Ham were living in a fantasy world. The midfielder's time at Arsenal ended this summer and the Gunners haven't missed him, while the Hammers are yet to see the benefit. He struggled early on in a defensive midfield role during a tough start for West Ham, and since then he's been injured, which is par for the course really. The other day Manuel Pellegrini implied that Wilshere was a £100 million player, and if that's true I'm never trusting him with my money. Our third centre midfielder is Fred. Jose Mourinho can whinge all he wants about the lack of investment, but the fact remains that Man United wasted £52 million on Brazilian midfielder Fred this summer. Initially it looked like he'd fit in as part of Mourinho's midfield 3, but now that can't be any further from the truth. I've said that twice now. It's hard to work out what kind of player Fred is, but he's quickly bought into the new ethos at Manchester United that has seen him slump down the Premier League table. Man United fans might moan that we haven't included either Fabinho or Naby Keita in here instead of Fred, but come on lads, let's be real, there's only one real flop here. On the left of attack is Adama Diakhaby. One thing Huddersfield needed to improve over the summer was their attacking options. They signed Adama Diakhaby for around £9 million from Monaco, but the attacking options remain unimproved. With pace to burn, we haven't seen much of the jet-heeled forward, as Diakhaby sometimes struggled to even get on the Huddersfield bench. £9 million is still decent money for a team like the Terriers, so Wagner will be absolutely gutted that he's wasted it on a player like Diakhaby. Up front is Leo Bonatini. A second Wolves player in this team, and one that I don't think Wolves fans can actually believe they signed. The Brazilian started great last season when he was on loan, but by the time Christmas came round, the goals dried up and they've never returned. But despite this, Bonatini was signed on a permanent deal, providing backup for the impressive Raul Jimenez. But Jimenez is hardly prolific himself, so Wolves need much more adequate backup. It's a good job the January transfer window is round the corner, because Bonatini is far from adequate backup. And finally we've got Jorginho and Alisson. Crystal Palace can't score goals. Christian Benteke struggled last season, as did Alexander Sørloth, so the Eagles knew what they needed to do in the summer. So why did they complete a loan deal for Jorginho and Alisson? The younger brother of Andre is a relegation veteran, going down with Villa and Swansea, yet keeps getting another crack at the Premier League. At Palace the forward is struggling as expected, unable to lift the pressure off Wilfried Zaha. Who saw that coming? Me, I did, I saw it coming. So that's our worst signings of the season so far 11. Let us know yours in the comments below. Thanks for watching and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.